So, I've been reading this book, what's it called? An Artist of the Floating World by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is the third book of his that I've read, after Never Let Me Go and Remains of the Day. Ooh, what was that? Fireworks. I guess it's preparation for July, 4th of July. So anyway, yeah, this one is shorter than the other ones, and it's only about less than 200 pages. Oh, just over 200 pages. And I'm about halfway through. There are two parts, I believe. It takes place, three parts, but the third part is pretty short. So it takes place post-World War II, post-war in Japan. The interesting thing about this one is, unlike the other two Ishiguro books I've read, which take place in England, this one takes place in Japan. Ishiguro is ethnically Japanese, but he lives in England. Somebody should check. Was he born in England or in Japan? I can't remember. But he identifies as British, or like British Japanese. He writes in English, I think. I'm pretty sure he writes his books in English, so he has total mastery of the English language. Better than I do. And he writes in a very easy style, easy to read, and conversational in a way, like he's just talking to a friend. And that's why I like his books. I wouldn't have had any interest in the topic of, for example, Remains of the Day, which is about a butler. I wouldn't have really had much interest in that, although other than if it hadn't been recommended by a friend, and if the writing style wasn't so, it's kind of exquisite writing style, in my opinion. Just, very elegant, I would say. So what is this book about? Well, it's about, I'm halfway through, so there are some things that I know and some things that I don't know about the book. But it's about an artist, and he's in his old age, he's retired. The situation is, well, he lives in a big, really nice house, formerly the house of someone named Akira Sugimura. And whoever that is, it was a rich and famous, prominent guy in this, and I don't really know where in Japan it is. Maybe somebody else who knows geography of Japan better can tell me where in Japan this takes place. There are a few place names thrown around, like Fukiwara, I think it was. Oh, there's Arakawa, and he goes to a place called Arakawa to visit his old friend Matsuda. What else is there? There's another place, I think it's Fukuwara or Furukawa. Well, I don't know where those places are, but it's a town or a city that was kind of devastated by the war, by bombing in the war, and the house. So, the house that the protagonist's name, the narrator, is named Masuji Ono, and he got this house for a deal because of his reputation. And I don't know how realistic that is, that somebody would sell you a house in Japan just because they think you're a great guy. They would they'd give you a really good price on a house just because you're a respected individual. But that's what happens here. Masuji Ono is a respected painter, and so far in the book we don't know that much about Ono's career as a painter. There's a lot of shadow. There's a lot of I think it's been done consciously, intentionally by Kazuo Ishiguro to leave certain aspects of it's certainly intentional, to leave certain aspects of Ono's past in the shadows. And that certainly comes out when he's talking to his friend Matsuda, and so, and it's like in these other Ishiguro books, it's somebody, there's the present and there's the past, and all of these books have been written in the first person, and somebody's, basically reminiscing about the past as certain other events unfold in the present. And so we have sort of a timeline that's converging, and so we've gotten some information, like we've learned something about Ono's childhood, not much though, but something, and we've learned something about his early career when he's training as a painter. But there's still some part of that timeline that we haven't covered. And something there's a suggestion that something happened there, and we don't really know what it is, but it's something that might impact Ono's daughter's marriage prospects. So that's what's going on in the present. And this takes place in 1948, so it's just a few years after the war. The house is damaged there's still some damage from bombings, I guess the American bombings. And somebody, if you're out there, please enlighten me about the history of this, because I guess how much bombing did we Americans do? I'm an American, or should I say we Americans or the Americans? I don't necessarily want to identify. It's not necessary to identify as an American for the purposes of this video. But, so, I just know about the nuclear bombs. And I don't think that's what he's referring to in this book, although maybe. Anyway, so one of Ono's daughters, Ono has two daughters, what's her name, Setsuko, I think. Forgive my lack of preparation. That's why I'm not a good teacher, because I'm hate writing lesson plans. And yeah, but well, I think her name is Setsuko. Yeah, Setsuko is his married daughter, and he and she has a son named Ichiro, and Ono also has a unmarried daughter named Noriko, and So Noriko was. We learn that Noriko was in marriage negotiations last year, the previous year, in I guess 1947, before the book starts. But they fell through for some reason. And we don't really know why. And we suspect that I think the reader, most readers will suspect that it has something to do with Ono's mysterious past. That maybe the other family did some investigation into the Ono family and found something they didn't like. And but we don't know. And the daughters, Setsuko and Noriko, keep asking their father, why did do you know why the marriage negotiations fell through? What was the reason? They didn't tell you anything? And Masuji Ono, the narrator, repeatedly tells them, no, I don't know. They just said that the reason that they gave, which sounds like an excuse, is that they didn't want to marry a family that was of higher status. They felt, I forget the name of the other family, but the other family felt that it would be inappropriate for them to marry somebody from a family of such high status and reputation. So, and that's because Ono has a reputation as a painter. And how that happened, why he has such a reputation. He seems like a very humble guy, and he's always surprised that others hold him in such high esteem. And that's also kind of shrouded in mystery. How he became so famous or so esteemed. Maybe he did something unethical. I don't know. We'll find out.